Okay. Oh gosh. Sorry about this. Where am I? Okay. Okay. Hi, this is beautiful Finland. This is the beauty of Finland. I'm really grateful to be here today. I'm so honoured to be invited by you all. I just want to share. I've taught at a business school for 10, 12 years. And I teach personal development and lots of other things. And I said, well, if the principle is real, it has to apply to life. And I spent ages and ages there. Where in this stuff can I use it? And one day, just the heavens opened after a lot of thinking. And I caught a sight. And I said, oh my gosh. And since that moment, I have been on a delicious, wonderful, awesome journey to see how the principle applies to life. So I can teach the principle of creation in a business school. Exactly the principle of creation. I can put the diagrams up, and they can take it and they can use it for their businesses or personal life. And they go, oh, this is really good stuff. And I've been so honored to know true parents. And the principle of creation is an awesome, amazing, delicious story of life. It is so beautiful. And whenever I have a problem with society and thinking about it, I go off and read all the best books that the best writers read and write, whether it be business books or whether it be social books. And when I understand all that, I come back and say, where is this in the principle of creation? And it just goes, boop, there it is. It's there, and it gives the best explanation possible that the others are kind of grasping for. This is an awesome piece of work. I have no idea. Because I used to think it was, well, kind of God is like this, and there's some kind of forces, you know, that kind of thing. And there's this 3 blessings bit, and there's some bit about love and beauty. And then there's something about kind of there's growing and night times and daytimes, and something about me being a spiritual being, and there's some kind of energy or something I get, vitality element. And that kind of God over there, and the 3 blessings here, and that's over there. And that's the way we taught it. But it's not that. And sometimes I think the translation got wrong. Because there's a story there, which is a profound story. It's a beautiful story. And when you catch the story, you can explain all of social reality in a very deep way, in businesses and everything else. So I can talk for hours. I could give a 1-day seminar on all the things that I find and everything. And so please forgive me if I get excited. And please forgive me if I talk a bit too much. Okay? Because it is what it is. Okay? Okay, so we have this outline. Yeah? Mind and body and masculine and femininity. Give and take, and they create forces. Exist, multiply, act. They have the 3 blessings, and that creates joy, and, and then you have this section on love and beauty and the value of love and original value. And then you have the man as the center of harmony, his original value. And then you have somehow something about growth. And then there's some kind of, I'm a spiritual being and I need some kind of energy to grow my spirit. Okay? But this is how it's laid out. It's beautiful. It's very interesting how it's laid out. It's all there. It's all there. It's just all there. It's complete. It's perfect as it stands. It's just a treasure. So I want to talk to you about the human story. The human story that is written in the principle of creation. Okay? Am I speaking too fast? Am I okay? You hear me? Okay. So God thought to himself, I have a parental heart. I want a lovely daughter called Sarah. Yeah? And I want a lovely son called Michael. Michael? Yeah. How am I going to do this? How am I going to build this beautiful family of true love and happiness and joy? So he created man to represent the masculine elements. Masculine. And masculinity is very simple. Very simple. Very simple. Simple. If you understand the rules of a male, being male, you can as a female, you have incredible power. But a lot of women don't want to know the rules of being male. They think he should be a female. But he's not. He's a male. And he's very simple. Very uncomplicated. And he has some fine qualities, some beautiful qualities, which he can bring dignity and honor to the world. And men have built this world and societies, much of it, along with women. And it is. Okay? Now, just to keep men on their toes, to keep men awake, God said, I need to make the woman a bit more complicated. But she is the source of beauty in the world. And she is to be treasured. Because only by treasuring her can the man raise his dignity and honor. It is only through treasuring the beauty in this woman that he can come to be the man that he truly can become. But she is complex. So he has to keep figuring it out. How do I honor and treasure this woman? Oh, hello. You keep going there. And she will have a never-ending list of things to do. Any men feel that here? Their wife has got a never-ending... No? Your wife never asks you to do anything? Just to keep you awake. Because you will quite happily just drift off and just be a man. You know, a bit lazy sometimes or a bit, not really growing. So she's there to keep you. Come on. I want a true man. I want to see this true man. Give it to me. Grow. Give it to me. This will work, said God. This will work. So, when they come together, this beautiful man and woman, they come together under this pattern that I am creating for my family, and they have children, they will create the forces necessary of existence, continuity, and development. They will create a culture. They will create a nation. And it is through the birth of the children, the birth of biological children, that through the birth of this lovely thing, that the culture exists, the culture is continued, and the culture is developed and improved. And it is only this relationship that can do that. No other relationship can do what this man and woman can do, because they have the power to create a child. So they have the power to, because it takes time to build a culture. It takes time to build a nation and all the goodness. And it can be one generation passing on to the next. So they create within them the precious forces which are needed to develop civilization. Oh, it keeps disappearing. Sorry about this. Okay, so through give and take action, they do this. Yeah? Okay, I copied this from William Haynes, so this is the problem. Okay. Stay. So anyway, then he said, okay, right, so this is how it's going to work. I need this guy to grow up to be a kind of reasonably mature human being. And I need this young lady to grow up to be a reasonably mature young lady. And then they can come together and they can have a child and they can create a civilization, a nation, a community, a world under my love. Yeah? And they have to feed the family. He's responsible, she's responsible to feed the family and to take care of creation for future generations. And in this act, you will find the most meaning in your life. In this act of creating this family and in creating a career, you will find the most joy and the most meaning in your life. You will never find anything more meaningful than these two things. Yeah? Would you agree with that? Yeah? So a lot of young people go, oh, career, oh, I love this career. And they go off and do it. But they forget the fact that this is a much more beautiful meaning, a much more beautiful joy. And then they realize at 35, oh dear, I'm missing out. And then many can't have children, or etc., struggle. But this is where I will place all the joy and all the sense of meaning in my life. Now, God said there has to be a principle by which they can keep this love alive. And that principle is love and beauty. This principle is really, really important. So every day I want him to wake up and give some love to this lovely lady. And I want him to appreciate the beauty in this lady. And every morning I want her to wake up and give some love to this guy and to appreciate the masculine wonders in him. And if they can do that every single morning, to wake up and love and appreciate each other and give acts of goodness, this will be a beautiful family. I can dwell in such a home. My love will be there. It will be gorgeous. But he has to appreciate the girl, and she has to appreciate the boy. Otherwise, they stop giving. Understand? Yeah? Okay. Oh, where am I? Gosh, it keeps going. I'm so sorry about this. What are you doing to me? Huh? Yeah. Okay. So this is the consistent act. Yeah. This is love and beauty. Yeah. This section. It very clearly says this in section 431. It says really clearly, once you get this going, you create a spherical moment where subject becomes object and object becomes subject, and God is there, and the purpose of creation is fulfilled. The sentence is very clear. Do this, and your whole being will feel, I am fulfilling my whole purpose of creation. So when those moments, those odd moments when you feel, she is so awesome, and she feels, oh, he is so awesome, do you feel your whole life is fulfilled? Well, maybe you've never felt it. But God says, this is the way. This is the way that you will find me in your life. But you have to follow certain principles. You have to become the center of harmony. You can only have the 3 blessings if you're the center of harmony. If you understand your divine value, you stay away from addictions, you stay away from abuse, offer each other respect as each other for being a child of God, for being something really special in the universe. You have to, no infidelity, these kind of things, yeah? You have to be the center of harmony. And you can only achieve this if you keep growing. If you stop growing, if you stop learning about love, this is impossible to achieve. it is impossible to find true love because we are designed specifically to fulfill our responsibility. We can only get it if we fulfill our responsibility, which is to grow. And so, how do I listen to a woman? How do I make a man feel good? How do I build a home with this person? How do we work together? How do we nurture each other? How do we appreciate each other? How do we romance each other? How do we do all these things so that God can dwell in the home? You have to learn these things that God. The principle of growth, you have to grow. So you can read books. We have loads of books about this, yeah? You can go to a marriage counselor if you're kind of really stuck. You can go to marriage coaches nowadays. Yeah? You can go to marriage and parenting seminars. There's all this knowledge on the internet. There's thousands of books now. There's no excuse. But in the principle of creation, it says really clearly, you have to grow. And if you do not grow, can God dwell in your family? Absolutely no. Because I'm limited by the merit of the age. Maybe I have to do some personal healing. A lot of us are affected by the First World War, the Second World War. All kinds of things are still negatively impacting on our relationship. And it needs healing. And the last thing you need to do so that God can come and you can fulfill the 3 blessings in your home is if you have vitality elements. How do you know thank you so much for wiping the counter clean yesterday, for hanging out the laundry. Thank you so much. You're such a good husband. Oh, I can grow. I can do this. Thank you so much, darling, for speaking nicely to me when you were trying to ask something yesterday. It was really kind of you to say it so respectfully. Oh, I'm becoming a wonderful woman. How do we give positive feedback or somehow sit down and say something needs improving, something needs to be changed? We can get there. We can build a home of true love if we want. Yeah? This is not, I told you 20 times. This is not feedback. This is not like this. Yeah. Oh, okay. Go. Okay. And then in the principle of chapter 2, it's very clearly said, but you cannot do this kind of world. It's absolutely impossible to build true love in this man and women relationship if you have premarital sex all over the place. Just doesn't happen. Impossible. Just one of the basic laws. It's totally impossible. The damage is done to men and women makes it impossible to build a culture of true love. The foundation gets destroyed. Destroyed. So very clearly, and I could go hours about this one to help you understand, but I won't. But I just talk about the principle. And the principle also goes on, this is your 100% responsibility. It's only 5% of the creation, but it takes 100% for you to do this. So therefore, if you struggle in your marriage, please grow. Your struggle is a call for you to grow and develop. And you can do this. You have the inner power, and today we have all the knowledge necessary to get you through this. So please don't divorce. Please grow. Okay? So this is the story. This is our story. This is the principle story. This is God's story for us. If we can do this, if we can do this, if we can understand every child is a precious child of God, we can go through and try to develop ourselves to be a mature person and try to keep away from this premarital sex. Instead, build a friendship, build, closeness, build just joy. And then you can marry, and with your biological child, create a school of love, where you're learning about love, the parents are learning about love, parents are learning about parenting, grow through the struggles, no infidelity, get community support, get help, feed your family, and take care of creation. And if you can do this, you will build the most beautiful culture the world has ever seen. If you can do this, you will have kind of heaven on earth. This is our story. Would you agree?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
This is what we preach in one way or another. Yeah? Now, we're not the first people to realize this. Many other civilizations around have caught this somewhere. The Greeks, when they started building their Greek nation, their civilization, they had the same laws. They said, no premarital sex. Infidelity was really just no. And no divorce. They had this. And out of that came the Greek culture. Out of that came the Greek civilization, which expanded and took over a lot of the Mediterranean. The power that this enabled was tremendous. And they were surrounded by lots of other nations who were practicing polygamy, marriages and other kinds of forms, and divorce or premarital, all kinds of things. But they said, no, we are not going to do that. Now, it wasn't ideal. There were lots of issues there, but they tried to apply these laws, and from those laws became an incredible empire. And the Romans, 300 years later, saw what happened to the Greeks when they practiced these laws. So they took those laws and they put them into the Roman law before Christianity came along. And then Christianity came along, and because of the values within the Christian tradition matched the Roman law, Christianity merged with Rome. And Rome became the center of growth. Because they practiced these laws. No premarital, no divorce, etc., etc. Rome grew, but then it fell to pieces. Still there, okay. and then another group, the Teutonic Empire, which Riga and Poland and all these things. If you go to these cities of Gdansk and Warsaw and Krakow and all these cities, Riga and Vilnius, and they were all built this great empire. And they did the same thing. And out of those forces came this empire, Teutonic, from the 12th to the 15th century. And then the Protestants in England, the Puritan Protestants, after they kicked out the King of England in 1650, the Puritans took control of Britain. And they said, we do not want premarital sex. We no divorce, and we want you to have no infidelity. And this was the thing. And out of that energy came the British Empire. Out of that came a little country of 10 million people, took over 1/5 of the world. It not only took over 1/5 of the world, it took over India, which was 300 million people at the time. And it gave China a bloody nose. And they were frightened of the little British. Zzz, zzz. We have power. Because they followed these forces. They followed these rules. Because why? Because God blesses you. God will dwell there. But they all collapsed in the same way. They all fell to pieces in the same way. They didn't know how to build true love in their marriages. There were some bad marriages, some unhealthy marriages. And so infidelity started to come. More and more infidelity. You study the history of Austria. terrible. Last century, no, century before, it just started to really fall to pieces. And then, so there became lots and lots of pressure to allow for divorce. And then there became more pressure for premarital sex, and the whole thing fell to pieces, and the civilization stopped kind of growing as fast. And in fact, they've gone into decay. They're all in decay. All Europe is in decay now. They're going heavily into debt, which can't be paid back. So, why? So what is the point here? What am I trying to talk about? So Christianity was a social experiment in a sea of polygamy and brokenness and all kinds of other things going on. It said, can this man love this woman and kind of keep it together to protect their children and to protect their culture? And can they make a nation out of this? And they kept it going for 2,000 years, step by step, trying to understand how it works and getting better at it and better at it. And out of that came Europe, the most successful continent that the world has ever seen. Out of this, man and woman trying to follow the laws of the principle. It wasn't perfect. But out of this came your civilization. That's what you live on. That's what you're enjoying today. It is the struggles of the men and women of history saying, how do we do this? How do we stay together? It's an incredibly long social experiment because it is rare, very rare, because most societies have been polygamous, which means that men dominate women. Men do not treat women with respect and love. Men do not have to grow to win the woman's heart. Do you catch that point? If you only have one woman and you're with her for life, you have to win her heart. But if I have a choice of 4 wives, I can say, which one's nicest? I don't have to grow. It warps the whole fabric. That's why God blessed Europe. And Christianity held it all together with its marriage values and everything else. It said, try and keep going and try and keep going, even if you can't find true love. So not only have we kind of lost it, we've lost the story. Do you feel your civilization has lost the story? Yeah? And we've come up with all kinds of new ways how we build a better future. Especially lawmakers. They pass many laws which tell a different story, how we build a better future. So can you tell me some of the laws that may have been kind of passed? What do you think? Have a look at this diagram. What laws might have been passed which kind of violate this story or create a new story? What law? Good. Same-sex marriage, yes. Absolutely. Yeah? It's just...
Probably abortion.
Huh? Abortion. Good. Where is that? Yeah, each child is a precious child of God. Yeah. Anything else?
No divorce.
No divorce. Good. Absolutely. Divorce law.
Living together without being married.
Good. Not marrying. Good. Men don't have to grow. She gets tough, he walks out. And the children get hurt. Every single time they made a new law to change this, children got hurt. Divorce hurt children much more than it hurt the parent. Yeah? Same-sex marriage hurts children. I don't want to go into that, but the principle clearly explains why, the principle of creation. It hurts children. Every time. So this one got killed. Here we have all kinds of things hurt for children. There's all kinds of harm for children in this condom and world. It's just so much harm. growth in single parenting and diseases and all kinds of stuff. And to teach to be a mature human being. Do schools do that today? How to grow to be a person who can be really a good husband, a good wife, and who can grow to be... No, they want to teach the opposite. Absolutely the opposite. Etc., etc. So every single time the state intervened, they had to, just like Lucifer in the Garden of Eden, they had to tell a lie. They'd say, oh, look, this will reduce single parents. Do you know what the single parenting rate in Sweden was at 1960, before the condoms came along? And we need condoms to reduce single parenting. Do you know what the single parenting rate was? I don't know, I guess it was about 4%. Do you know what it stands at today? About 50% probably. So has it reduced single parenting? But that was the argument. They had to tell a lie. It sounded good. So it is so tempting. And divorce, no-fault divorce, don't have to grow divorce. Now, better divorce law is you have to go for counseling, you have to go for coaching, we will pay for a marriage education cruise, we will help you get through this because your children want to see you get through this. And our society needs to do this, you to grow. Because this is a growing experience for you. This is life. But the law became, no, you can walk out. You don't have to grow. We dumb ourselves down. We dumb ourselves down. We are far below our potential as divine beings. Far below our divine potential. Even yesterday we were talking about albatrosses. I don't know if you know about albatrosses, but they are so happy to be in love. They are so, I'm in love. And every year, they do it for 70 years. I'm in love with this person. And they never divorce. They're so happy to be in love. I hopefully say example later. But they tell a lie. So every time they try to change one of these laws, they will tell you some lie, which sounds really, really interesting. But if you really look under the surface, it's false. It hurts children. But what do you get? This is a crime rate. I could bring many graphs. Self-harm or deaths from overdoses or drugs or, single parenting or just And you grew up in this society, well, this is normal. Oh, this should be like this. It's not meant to be like this. It wasn't like this 50 years ago. But politicians who know absolutely nothing about the principle say they know better. So what's the basis of our story? What's the basis of what do we have to do as unificationists? Now we can look at this and we can say, well, there's masculine and feminine. And we have some children and we created the forces that create culture. We did that. And we entered in the 3 blessings. We kind of stayed away from sexuality as we joined and we kind of said yes to this person. And we're trying to find some joy and meaning in this, maybe. Is that enough? Is that what the principle of creation says is enough? No, you're missing out the end of the principle of creation. Because if you cannot build marriages of true love, we will never, ever, never be happy as human beings. If we never grow to our divine potential, we will always have marriages that go, oh, this doesn't work. Maybe we should allow for divorce. Maybe we should allow infidelity will happen. We will go the way of other cultures. Our movement will do that. And we will have failed, but we shouldn't fail because we have the principle of creation. It's very clear. Do this and you will be blessed. But this means you have to, every morning, wake up and say, where is the beauty in my beloved? How can I offer her acts of love? And every morning you have to wake up and contemplate and pray and say, where is the beauty in my husband? How can I offer him acts of love? And you have to, if you've got some abuse issues, some addiction issues or whatever, you have to find healing. You have to sort it out. We have all kinds of anger management and addiction healing. We have it all. There's no excuse anymore. And you need to grow. You need to read books. Yesterday, when I was talking, I just kept on popping out with all these ideas, like how you listen to your wife or how you do this with your husband. I've read so many books. I have so much knowledge that whenever there's a problem in my marriage, I go, which I go through my Rolodex. You know Rolodex? This kind of, what will solve it? There must be a solution here somewhere. I'll try that one, But most of us don't have any other but what we're using. Because we haven't read. We haven't studied. But there's books on all these things. There's 20 books on masculine femininity out there. They get better every single time. There's 20 books at least on give and take action within the couple relationship. What are they talking about? They're saying, live the principle of creation better and you will find happiness. That's all they're saying. That's all civilization is saying right now. And we're going, well, we don't want to read that stuff. What are we doing? What are we thinking? We're talking about true love, but without thinking about us needing to grow. There's lots of books on the marriage and finding love and beauty in your marriage and romancing the girl and romancing the boy, and there's lots of books on it now. And there's lots of books on solving deeper issues, abuse and all these other things, and inner traumas. And there's lots of books on all this stuff. And once you catch the point, in the business world, there's lots of books on this because they're all trying to live the principle of creation better. That's all they're trying to do. How do we hire the right staff? It's masculine and feminine. How do we get the right mix of people in our group to achieve the goal? Give and take action. How do we create the right communication systems? How do we break it down to make the project move forward and so we can achieve the goal we're going to try and do? How do we make this a beautiful experience, make a product that people enjoy and enjoy the teamwork and get on with it? And how do we treat people with respect along our journey, customer with respect, valuing your customer? How do we treat our staff with respect? They're all talking about the principle of creation. If you do this better, your company will be better. And we have the principle of creation. And we have a movement. And do we realize we have the principle of creation? Do you realize you have the principle of creation? Are you building your church according to this? This is our challenge. So this was my wake up. I go, what? Do you understand? We have it. We have the answers. We have the answers, and it's because of the Father and Mother. And we are so honored to know how we use the principle to better life, better church, better families, better relationships. We can do this. You are a divine being with incredible potential. And you're a divine woman with incredible potential. And we all have the chance to grow. I know that because I have grown. I'm a different man than 10 years ago. I'm a different man than 15 years ago, before I read these things. Now, what would inspire you, second gen, most? Your parents being there where they are, or your parents being madly in love with each other every day? What would inspire you? No answer. What would inspire you? Come on.
Kiss a lot?
Huh?
Would they kiss a lot? Then I would.
Yes, that's right, but you would still rejoice. My children still, when I dance with my wife or we go, around the house or whatever, my children go, oh my gosh. But underneath it all, they know the world is right. They know this is the way it's meant to be. Because they know it's not meant to be hitting and it's not meant to be screaming. They know that. We know that because we're divine beings with incredible potential. Who know that we are divine beings who should be treated with respect. Even though in history of mankind we've never been treated with respect, we know we are God's children because we say, I want to be treated with respect. So this is what happened in 2007. I realized there's this knowledge in the principle. There's incredibly beautiful knowledge. And I call it the principles, 7 principles of creation. And I can teach this at business school. Or I can teach in a marriage course. Or I can teach it as personal growth and development. And it involves 7 elements. And he's just creating a clear identity of where you want to go. What's your purpose of your marriage? What's your purpose of your business, etc., etc. Then finding the right people in your marriage. Of course, you're a couple, but somehow, how do you find people to help you and support you with this goal? How do you create the communication structures to achieve your goal? How do you achieve your goal with this? How do you make baby steps forward, make a plan, project management? So they understand this bit, yeah? But you have to ensure everything you do include what is the joy, where is the meaning, where's the beauty, where's the happiness, where's etc. What's the purpose of this product? What is the purpose of our company? How can we make joy in our company, etc., etc. How do we, in order to achieve this goal, how do I have to grow? How do I have to grow so that I can achieve my goal? Because to achieve a goal, you always have to grow. You always have to develop. You have to also respect everybody in your circle, stakeholders we call them, all the people in your circle around you, all the people influenced by this. You have to ask, is this respectful? Does it respect? So companies, it's really interesting. When you understand this law, companies that have a core values, a mission statement, which clearly identifies we have to respect our customers, our shareholders, our workers, all the people, our communities. We have to build respectful relationships with those people. Those companies grow 7 times faster than other companies. It is such a profound principle, the principle of respect. And if you violate your workers, if you violate your customer, if you violate, your community, it just falls to pieces very quickly. And lastly, all things, you need feedback. You need to know how you're doing, how's it going, am I getting there, etc., etc. So I can teach this. And they go, yeah. And I can give them worksheets and, how am I going to get through college? Or how am I going to build my marriage? Or same thing. Doesn't matter. Because they're the principles of creation that God gave us. It's a beautiful, beautiful gift we've been given. It's a treasure. We do not have to look around anywhere else in many senses to understand what we have to do. Our job is whether we want to do it. Whether we want to read, whether we want to study, whether we want to set a goal and get there. So, I could talk a whole day about this. There's other things in the principle of creation which would go, and interesting stuff. I've been thinking about this for so long now. And every morning, almost every morning, I wake up and go, oh my gosh. Well, that's why. Oh, so many mornings at 5 o'clock in the morning. It's like in the middle of the night. It's just like a little oppression. In the middle of the night, God has said, okay, you've determined to understand that bit. Now I can give that little bit of knowledge extra. And I just, it's so beautiful. So, okay. So thank you so much for listening, for coming today. And I sincerely, my hope and dream is, of course, is that you go away and you build better marriages. Because if we cannot do that, we have no future. And the reason why you have to build a better marriage is because this guy needs you to. It's the child, the child needs to see how love is practiced better. It needs better protection. It's always about the child. That's all the principle is. That's all we're doing here. That's all we are about, is trying to become better at this so that you can become a better human being. It's lineage improvement, lineage development. And hopefully you will grow and you will become better at being a husband and grow, and then your children will be better than you. And that's the hope. That's the only way we develop as human beings. That's where we developed for 2,000 years in Europe, based on that principle. It's not government intervention. Mostly it was kings saying, give me your money. Go off and fight a war. It didn't help me at all. But it was these guys saying we got to, going to church and praying, and the preacher saying, oh, you will be judged in hell if you don't, if you commit infidelity, or you have to be grateful, Okay, I'll try. Every week he got a. That's all it's about. That's all we're doing here. There's nothing else. How do we create a community where the children are better than us? Would you agree, guys?
Yes.
That's it. That's it. But for that to work, you have to become better at being parents. Okay? So, I thank you so much. I wish you all the love in the world. Thank you.